Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Educational Gamer and we are playing NASA in the Space Program Manager. It is late 1964 and we are trying to beat the Russians to space, of course. We've done a couple of good things, a couple of bad things, so let's see where we stand and what we want to do. Now, we are sort of into our budget period, so it would be great if we could start to generate some prestige over here. At least we need 35,000, we are 20,000 to get our max funding. We are certainly safe from retirement, we won't be kicked out, but at the current state actually our budget would be reduced next time, so that would be not too great. Although to be honest our budget is looking fairly well. At any rate, we've got a couple of people to manage over here, a couple of programs to look at. So we have three open programs, two satellites, I would say, well, the Bio satellite and the lunar one over here. We also have Project Gemini. You can see Project Gemini has a lot of different missions, and with these we are potentially able to generate some prestige. 6,000 over here if we do a crewed mission, 9,000 over here, 10,000 maybe. So yeah, it would be great if we could make some progress over here. Let's have a look at these things. We did the uncrewed suborbital flight tests. You can see that starting at the orbital flight test there would be a penalty because we haven't done any uncrewed orbital flight tests. So that is definitely something that we should look at. At 10% I feel it's significant enough that we should do that. So let's look at the uncrewed orbital flight test. We would need our Titan II booster over here, which is a human rated rocket. We could do this with a non-human rated rocket. We just don't have any that is capable of producing enough lift. So what I dislike about that is that it's sitting at 78%. I would like to be that number above 80%. But I think for now that's going to be fine. Spacecraft itself at 88%, that's fine to me. Let's schedule this mission over here. It won't generate a lot of prestige in and of itself, but later on it's going to be fine. Let's see whether these assignments do make sense. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. We do need more systems engineers. 93 is probably our weakest over here. Still, overall, happy with this, so let's confirm these assignments. Spend $8 million. That should be alright. Good. Now, can we do something else? I'm not sure we can. So I would ideally like to launch the Ranger 3 Impact over here. We have the Atlas Agena booster, 86%, 81%. That looks fine to me, and it would generate a bit of prestige. But if we were to assemble this, I think we are lacking someone good in boosters. Actually not, you're fairly decent, so... Flight Director 62, yeah, the Systems Engineer really... 53, we need more of these guys. Experiments 81. Let's have a look at whether we have any systems engineer who's in training or something. Let's sort by systems. Our lecture over here. You'd finish next season and you'd probably receive a substantial boost. Right now you're at 69.2%. And what we have over here is a 53. The 81 isn't great, the Flight Director isn't great, but I think we can risk that. We are sufficiently close in our season that I think it makes sense to be a little bit more aggressive over here. Only the people in training, right? Oh yeah. System's going down, yeah. Alexo. So we'll remove you from training. That will provide a lower yield of your things. But I think that's going to be fine because then we have someone who's a little bit better over here. Yeah, 74%, that's much better. Not the greatest mission, but it's not risking human life. I think the prestige loss is fairly limited. So let's confirm these assignments. And that's alright. So we do have 2 missions running this time, which I think is a great achievement. So let's look at the people who are not busy over here. A lot of people who are, I think, fairly new to the game, so let's assign these people to their respective speciality. Dominic, I would like you to be another propulsion engineer. So let's set your continuous to be at least 80%. At that point we'll talk again. Then we have Damien over here. I think you would be very good at trajectory and GNC. What does GNC actually stand for? I should check that at some point. And again, before you're 80, it doesn't really bother to come back to me. Right, I think someone else. Yeah, Livy over here. Livy Loops should also do somewhat a similar mission. That's fine. Azra, I think you'd also be good spacecraft systems engineer. We'll send you to Snows. Let's set you to continuous train until you're above 80. That should be fine. Javier, crew and payloads. Might make sense. Let's set you to continuously train. Come on. 80, that's fine. And Edward, I think you already had a speciality. Yeah, mission ops, that's fine. Single training course it is for you. Our astronauts really deserve some training. All in all, you're looking pretty good. I think some piloting might be in order here. Fabia, yeah, you're looking pretty good as well in your stats. So let's set you for an EVA course. We are sort of lacking these types of things, so that should be alright. Good. Let's look at our research. I think if we're doing the Ranger 3 this term, we might as well pull a couple of people off from over here. If we're sending one person over here, it's going to be a 1.2% increase. I think that's fine. We'll still register that before the launch, so I think that's a very good thing to do over there. On the other hand, I think what I would like to do is at least set one person over here on the Agena target vehicle. It's a very good improvement. And maybe if we send two people over here, we'll be very soon able to launch the biosatellite. And the reason I'm a little bit aggressive on these space probes is because of our rocket programs. The Atlas Agena here is saturating pretty quickly. You can see 3 of our top-notch people are working on that, and it only increases the reliability of that by 0.4%. So I would like to get to the next sort of stage of programs, and that will be unlocked by the Atlas Centaur booster over here. I feel right now we have enough money to open that, so let's do so. It does redirect us over here to the management screen. We'll still of course have someone work over this, over here on this. Let's pick the middle person, Ulf. It's going to increase that by 0.2%. Is that even worthwhile? I don't know. Justin and Curtis over here will be working on the Atlas Centaur then, and gonna improve that much more substantially, so that ultimately we'll be able to fly that a little bit more likely. You can also see the Titan II booster will receive a nice upgrade over here by all of these 4 people working on it, so that in fact will push us above 80% for the next mission, and that I think is very lovely. Good. Let's end the season. Yeah, some marginal improvements all around. It's starting to look pretty good. Target vehicles starting to come up there. Titan II booster, which we'll see in action for the first time. Biosatellite at a point where we feel comfortable launching it as well. So that's very nice to see. Right, let's have a look at the uncrewed orbital flight test. Should be fairly well. 12 stages is still pretty much.
T-minus 90 seconds and counting. All systems still looking
so where's the rocket?
As we approach the final seconds
Ah, there it is. Right, so this is the new Titan II. Haven't seen it in action yet, so its reliability is pretty good actually.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, you can see the reliability dropping down a little as it becomes more reliant on the rocket. The preparations are a mix of the rocket and the payload, whereas the ascent is really truly dominated at least by the rocket. And here we stumble in our first problem. We would have the funds, but since this is not a critical mission, I'm not gonna hire any teams. There is a chance of this breaking down and hurting our progress on the Titan II, which would be fairly bad, but we're dodging the bullet over here, so that's nice to see. That's only stage 4. Oh, nice separation over there. Orbit insertion. And again a problem. It's a little bit ridiculous, so yeah, not hiring any teams for this. Teams are very, very expensive, so you're mostly better off not using them if at all possible. And if you have a decent flight crew, chances are you're not making that much progress by hiring a team. Just a couple of percentage points really. And that's rarely worthwhile. Except when you have a lot of humans on this. And there would be a lot of prestige loss. Yeah, so not the smoothest mission, but all in all we are doing fine. And if we solve, as long as we solve problems, there's not gonna be any problem. And we are gonna learn more about both the rocket and the spacecraft itself. Spacecraft itself hasn't run any humans yet, so it's nice to see that this is doing its second flight here in a fairly good fashion. I like the artwork, by the way. It's so nicely 1950s, 1960s. And it does look like we are recovering this. So that's very lovely. Very little prestige, yeah, 450 points, that's not going to get us anywhere. But it's opening up other missions, so I feel fairly fine with this. Yeah, very good. Also a nice upgrade on the Titan II. Small upgrade on the Gemini. Small upgrades all around on our people over here. That's fine. Then we have the Ranger 3 Lunar Impactor. That's going to be a very interesting mission. Also one with a little bit more prestige gain. Again, potential prestige loss is not that horrible, so let's have a look at it. Different rocket, the Atlas Agena. Non-human rated rocket, simply for normal payloads.
10, 9, 8,
Still a beautiful design, I think.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff. We're off on the hour.
That seemed a little late before the liftoff, but looking good. So the target of this mission is to do what it says, impact the moon. So it's going to be a little bit of a... Yeah, it's just going to fly into the moon and observe what's going to happen. Principally to set up some dust and see just how the surface of the moon behaves. I think we're slightly ahead against the Soviets if we were to be successful over here. There you can see the lunar impactor. Oh, lovely. So yeah, moon impact. It's going to be its final mission. And I feel it's kind of hard to not be successful in that. Good. So that was a successful mission. Very nice to see. Some nice prestige points here. More importantly, I think we did beat the Soviets in the study of the lunar soil, level 1, and close-up pictures of the moon. So that's very lovely to see. Although the Soviets were a little bit ahead of us, I think, in some of their probes to the moon. So let's see what's going on. Okay, so the Soviet Space Agency has successfully performed joint launch and orbital flight. That's something that we done before. Okay, so it's switching to the Vokshod uncrewed tests. So it has performed an uncrewed orbital flight test and it has already achieved some of these things. And an orbital flight. Oh man, okay. So what they did is they sent the Vokshod up. They sent 2 spacecraft up into orbit at the same time without even testing them uncrewed. That's bold. That's really bold. The good thing is I think they haven't done anything to beat us there. So that's alright. Blake, I think we can withdraw from training. That's a very, very small gain over here, so should be fine. Okay, and Atlas Agena has maxed out, so that's very good to see. Right, the President is very pleased with our performance. That is also very nice to see. So, first of all, since the Ranger 3 was successful, we can close this program. And that should be alright. In terms of our rocket programs, Atlas Agena, as we saw, is maxed out. So that's very nice to see. That means we can send Ulf to the Atlas Centaur. Steven as well, maybe. It's going to be a very nice improvement. 4.9. Doesn't matter that much whether Curtis is working on this. So Curtis will in fact be sent to training. be a little bit better and sort of leapfrog your way around that. Good. We do have a lot more people who are unemployed currently, so I think that's probably... Oh yeah, so first of all, who's in training, who's good on the EVA suits? Blake. Yeah, let's remove you from training. I think you're good enough, really. And that means we can... Whoop. And that means we can go to manage payloads R&D here and send you to conduct some research on this EVA suit. I think that's fine. So we are slowly coming up over here. We don't have the most people working on this, but all in all I feel we are pretty fine over here. Space probes, yeah, we do have Dennis. You're pretty good at this, so... Yeah, I think it's worthwhile if we put Dennis on this job. Can pull someone off from down here. Send you over here as well. And start to improve this a little bit more aggressively. And then we do have the biosatellite, which we can potentially launch this turn. On the other hand, so where do we stand? We are in 1965. I think we have 2 years now exactly. Yeah. That means... So in terms of where we stand with Gemini, because that is definitely where we will be generating most of our points from. 5,000 for an orbital flight. So first off, is there anything that's requiring... Yeah, you want the orbital flight test to be done, but it's only 5% with negative impact, so I don't think it's that bad. We can do that without it. What's this? Docking. Okay, yeah, here it starts to be a little bit more hefty. So EVA and orbital rendezvous with a crewed vehicle, but no docking. With a crewed vehicle. Okay, so this is just with the target vehicle. Sort of a semi-spacecraft. It actually has a very low LOE. Yeah, and here again starts to be a little bit more burdensome on the penalties. On the other hand, it just doesn't look too bad. So if you look at the Titan II, reliabilities are fairly good, I think. And these would give us 10,000 prestige, which would be really lovely. Duration 2. We would require the EVA suits in some of these, and I don't think the EVA suits are ready yet. So EVAs sort of fall out of the picture. Orbital flight level 2 is not okay yet. The docking. So simply the docking. It's 9,000 points. That's fairly good, I have to say. So no spacewalk, because that's an EVA activity. With a crewed vehicle, I think that would be alright. With the docking, that's too many penalties. EVA is not alright. Docking is not alright. So we could do an orbital rendezvous with a crewed vehicle, or we could directly go ahead and do a duration 2 of that. Would that yield us any benefit? Yeah, we haven't done any duration 2 mission yet, so we would get an achievement there, and that might not be too bad. Also a rendezvous, 2 crew spacecraft. It would do a lot of things at the same time. Also the orbital flight, it would skip ahead of a lot of things, and I appreciate that. Again, docking is not in the picture, so actually this is the most likely thing that we can do. 86%. Getting some penalty here on the Gemini spacecraft. Sorry about the noise in the background, that was a dog. 11 flight controllers, we would have that. 5 astronauts, we need to clear up some. How long are you in your training respectively? 2 seasons, 1 seasons, 1 season, 2 seasons. We don't have to do this now, we can do it a little bit later. So let's do one thing first. On Venus over here, there's one mission profile. Actually, we can do all 3 of these, but the most important one to me, I think, is Flyby, Marina 5, because that can be done by the Atlas Agena. Yeah, so that has enough, so the mass of this is too low enough that we can do it with the Atlas Agena. Here we need the other rocket, which is not ready yet. It's only at 60% or so reliability. Marina 5 flyby would be possible, and that would give us a lot of achievements. The Venus probe, so we'd be beating the Soviets to Venus. We'd also do the first deep space probe, and that is why I think it would be crucial to get to another planet before anyone else. So that would be really nice, and this is really only the only mission that we can do with our current decent rocket. So let's open this program and let's go back to the on D first on this. So and payloads on D, spacecraft on 4th. Here we have Marina 5. Yeah, a lot of you people are good at spacecraft, at space probes, but not necessarily as good. We do need good people working on this, but I would appreciate having at least one person working on this with an 8.5% probability increase. That's good. And I think we can look at the biosatellite now, so then we can get this out of the way. This improvement I'm gonna still take, and then I think everyone else should be fine. Again, space suit, we're working on that with high pressure. Can't really do much about it now. The Gemini spacecraft with a 0.3% increase. Let's keep that rolling with just these 2 people. I think that should be fine, and then we can ask you guys to continue your training so that you'll be contributing a little bit more on the next one. Good. So we have a couple of new people who've been joining us. So I would like to take Juanita over here and train you on crewed not crewed spacecraft, space probes, I think. Yeah, Juanita is going to be for space probes. Vladimir is going to train up on rockets. Paul, likewise, on space probes. You can see we have a little bit of a bottleneck there already. And Catherine, you're going to train on human-rated rockets, which I think is going to be fine. We can hire people, so let's have a look at that. Up to 6 people, 94% is good, 96% is good, and 94% is good. 93. All of your guys' training is pretty decent. So do we need any specific thing? Space probes would be good, but you're at only 45%. All of these people are better. You're good at some of these things, that's fine. Space probes, yeah. Frankly, I think these are very good people. Let's hire them. They'll be getting to training. That's alright. Good. So, we learned all of our astronauts are sort of away. So, we could wait for 1 or 2 seasons. Let's wait for 2 seasons and with the Gemini program, and let's instead look at the biosatellite program over here. Can do a regular mission or an extended mission for slightly more prestige gain. 500 points, it's actually not that bad. But I think honestly a normal one will be fine. Reliability of this is actually good enough, I think so. Let's schedule this. Auto-assign best candidates. You're all looking pretty good, except for maybe you. Yeah, but that's just the way it is, so yeah. Fine. Let's confirm these assignments. 4 million down the drain. All of our other flight controllers will be trained up. Alex, I would like you to be long-term a flight director. So you need to train up in your weakest field. Alexio, do I even have you? I don't think I do. Spacecraft systems. I think I sort of missed you. That's fine though. We do need spacecraft systems engineers, so that's fine. Alan. Yeah, your trajectories. Which is fine. Let's send you on training. Catherine, you seem to be crew and... So, yeah, that's fine. Catherine, you are a flight controller person. Propulsion, I think, is your weakest field. Then we do have a Frank in flight director status, but I don't think it's Frank Werman. Even though you're sort of an interesting character. I don't think you are the person to do this. Trajectory, this is an important field. It's hardly worthwhile to train you up though. Well, let's still do it. Mission operations, yeah, you're still gaining more than a percentage point, that's fine. Jose, you still are trajectory person, aren't you? Yeah. Definitely trajectory over here at Luis. And Tristan, that's fine. And even though it's only 2 seasons that we will take benefit from this maybe, let's send you to train up. Let's get a science person over here, and Lawrence is going to be the scientist. Good. And we can hire more people, which I think is fine. So let's look at flight controllers. Again, mostly looking at the training. 94, 95, 96, 97. Good people. 91, are you worthwhile? You're good spacecraft systems guy, so yeah. You're hired. That's fine. 31 persons, that's I think gonna be enough. Maybe we're gonna go for the other 4 persons. But all in all, I think we are fine. I'm only debating whether we maybe should be expanding our astronaut center over here. And you know what? At this point, I think we have enough money to do this. And it might be worthwhile to just have a couple of people in reserve. So, yeah, I think that's fine. So we are now 1965. I think this is a very good place to put in a cut. Nope, I don't want to do this. We are going to do the biosatellite mission next turn, and I think over the rest of 1965 we are going to try to launch a Gemini mission as well, and that should push us forward quite a bit. Also looking forward to go on Marina 5 over here and start to explore the rest of the solar system a little bit more. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.